Welcome to Intuitive Alchemy, the space where we turn cosmic and spiritual insight into practical, real-world healing. I'm Sydney, trained intuitive, energetic alchemist, and medical astrologer in training. And on Intuitive Alchemy, I get personal. We don't do surface level here. We go deep. No fluff, just the energetic shifts, raw stories, and grounded practices that actually change your life and activate your personal power. Now let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to Intuitive Alchemy. It's been a minute. It's been, I guess, a whole week, which I guess for other podcasts, that's not long, but since we usually do 2 a week, it feels like forever since I have talked to you guys. And so today I'm going to fill you in on what's been going on, which you already kind of know if you follow me on Instagram. I've been sharing in my stories, and I also did a post where I mentioned it. But yeah, there's been some stuff popping up for me that I've been dealing with. It's been a little bit challenging, I guess you could say. And so let's talk about it. Okay, so the last time I talked to you, the last time I recorded an episode, I was about to go to Orange County, California, where my partner Corey is from, and we were going to see his family, and his youngest sister it's the coolest thing ever. She's in school to become a doctor of Eastern medicine and to become an acupuncturist. And I'm obsessed because I have been kind of learning about traditional Chinese medicine, aka TCM, for several months. And it has actually made some really, 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 significant improvements in my life, just implementing some of the teachings of TCM. And so the fact that she is like studying that and going to be a doctor soon is so fucking cool. So we went because she was having her white coat ceremony, and she is almost halfway through her doctorate program. And so we went to go do that and just hang out with his family that lives in California and go to the beach. And we took the dogs because we got an Airbnb, and we drove so that we could take the dogs with us. And I wanted to take them to the beach because they've never been. And I know one of my dogs specifically loves water. And so I was just like, oh my God, they're going to love it. Like, I cannot wait to see them. It's like how, I don't have kids, but it's like how people who have kids get really excited to take them to like Disneyland or something. And I was like feeling that way about taking my dogs to the beach. So that was super cool. We had an amazing time, and I also just was really in need of some vitamin C, SEA. I really was like, it had been several years since I had been to the beach, and it's been a long time since I've been to the Pacific. I usually go to the Atlantic, but it was so good. And we swam and swam and swam like fishes, and it was the best. So, basically what happened was we loved our first beach day so much that we were like, okay, let's change our plans around a little bit and go to the beach again the next day. So we did that. And first day, we just spent so much time like in the actual water that neither one of us got burned or anything. And to be honest with you, I wasn't wearing sunscreen anywhere, like not even on my face, which I know is a big no-no, but I don't know. I don't even know. I just wasn't. And then the next day I did wear sunblock on my face, but I did not wear it on my body, and I swam less because it was a little bit cooler. It was windy. The water was pretty choppy. And when I did go in, I just kept getting pulled out to where I couldn't touch. So I was like, okay, this is not really relaxing or like all that fun, because it was just like I was constantly having to like paddle my arms and legs, and I was like, okay, shit, I'm getting tired. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go in and like hang out on the actual beach and just like, get a tan, just soak up some rays, And we were there with one of Corey's best friends from California. So they were like swimming a lot, and then they would come in and we would chat, and then they would go back in, and I just stayed on the beach. And I was wearing a hat, so it shaded my face. So my face did not, like, it got a little bit of color, but it did not get burned. However, and this is a big however, my body, mostly my legs, but like also my back and kind of like the left side of my arm and my neck got so fucking burned, you guys. Like I have been sunburned before many times in my life. I grew up for most of my, I would say like my preteen through like high school years. My parents had a lake house in Oklahoma, and so I spent like every summer just like on the lake always. So I am not a stranger to sunburn. Like I've had blistering, I've had all of that, peeling, all of that stuff. But I have never had a sunburn like this. It is so severe, and I didn't even realize it. Like, you know how when you get burned and you like, you're like, oh, I got a little pink. And then but you don't realize. And then like you take a shower and you get out and you're like, oh shit, I'm actually a lobster now. That's what happened. So let me just set the stage for you. I was already having like blood sugar issues because we were on vacation. We were staying at an Airbnb. I didn't have like all of my stuff that I usually have. Like, usually I don't skip breakfast. Usually I eat before I even have coffee. That's something that I've been implementing at home for a while now, and it really does make a difference for me. My leg just slipped. So anyway, we're there and we're just kind of like go. Like it was just a very jam-packed trip, and it was great. Like it was so good and so fun, but we just like, none of it was chill. We were just going. And, we would wake up, we would have coffee, and then immediately start getting ready for whatever we were going to do that day. So we would get up and then like walk the dogs, have our coffee, and then like we didn't have food there. We didn't go grocery shopping because we were only there for like 5 days. And so I slipped back into just having coffee on an empty stomach and not eating. And I was I was noticing towards the end of the trip, it was catching up to me. And so on Saturday, whenever our second beach day, we were on our way to the beach. We went to Newport Beach because that was the closest to where our Airbnb was. And I was like, oh my God, I think I might actually throw up. Like I'm getting shaky. I'm feeling like anxious. I'm feeling very nauseous. My stomach is hurting. And I'm just like, literally, that time, like whenever when you're in that space and you're just like you're like, okay, this is going to happen. And so you're just like mentally preparing yourself for what you're going to do if you do throw up, like when you're in the car or when you're outside walking or whatever. That is where I was. So we like get out of the car, we're walking. We had to park kind of far away because it was a Saturday and like the waves were good. So there were a shit ton of surfers out there. So we had to park like kind of far away. So we're walking and I'm just like please God, do not let me throw up. Like, oh my God, please don't let me throw up. I am like going to be so humiliated if I throw up in front of like Corey's friend when we're walking to the fucking beach. Like, he's going to be like, what is wrong with you? But I'm like thinking it's going to happen, and I don't know where the nearest, like, I know that there is a public restroom, but I don't know like how far away we are from it. And so I'm literally in my head, I'm like, okay, worst case scenario, I'm just going to have to like throw up in someone's bush or something, like, because there's all these beach houses and everything, and some of them have like little gardens, and I'm like, I'm just going to have to throw up in someone's garden. And I hated that option, but it was like, you know what, better than just like the sidewalk, I guess. And so I'm like mentally preparing myself for that. And then we like walk up on the like park area that had the public restroom, and I was like, oh my God, thank you. So we make a pit stop there. I don't get sick, but I still feel like I'm very much going to. Like, I'm not out of the woods. And then we go on ahead to the beach, and I'm still like, any second I could be literally throwing up. And so they start like setting up our towels and everything, and I just make a beeline for the water, because I'm like, you know, maybe just splashing around, like getting my feet in the cold water, like maybe it will kind of snap me out of it, and I don't know, give me something else to focus on. And sure enough, it did help. So did that. And all the while, I'm like, I know what I need is to eat something. But the last thing you want to do when you feel like you are seconds away from getting sick is eat something, obviously. And so all I had was water too. Like, I didn't have Gatorade or like any kind of electrolytes with me. Like, all I had was my water, and I had a chomp stick, like one of those grass-fed beef, like sticks. So, and like that sounded so disgusting to me at that time. Like, I love those, but at that time that sounded bleh. So I did, like, finally, when my stomach settled down like a little bit, I like choked down a couple bites of that, and it did help. And I'm just like chugging water as much as I can. So finally my stomach feels better, and we're just like hanging out, we're talking, we're having great conversation. And I am just like, it's overcast. So the fact that I'm getting burnt to a crisp is like literally not even in my awareness, which I know better than that. Like, I fucking know better than that. But it, you know, hindsight is 2020, as always. So I am just sitting there, and the way that I was sitting is exactly how I got burned. So it's like the left side of my left leg, like starting at my glute all the way down to my foot. And then it's the left side of my right leg, again, starting at my hip and then going down to like my ankle and my foot. So I don't even realize it. Like, we're leaving and we're like, okay, let's go get some lunch. Let's go get something to eat. And I'm like, oh, I think I got some color. And then we get back, like, we eat, we go back to the house, we take a shower because we have like dinner plans. And so I'm showering, and I'm like, holy shit, this is like this is a little more than I thought initially. And then I get out of the shower and I see how incredibly red it is, and I'm like, wow. And then just like as the night goes on, I am progressively getting worse, not only like the burn, but I'm like feeling extremely sick. Like, my stomach was cramping. I was having some stomach issues. I wasn't throwing up, it was the other one, and like TMI, but whatever. And I, like, my stomach is cramping. I'm feeling nauseous off and on. I have a headache. I'm also unable to warm up. Like, even though my skin is on literal fire, it felt like I was shivering. I had the chills. I don't know if I had a fever because I obviously didn't have a thermometer on me, but I would assume that I did have a fever. Like, I felt extremely feverish, and just, you know, that those chills that you get when you like cannot, no matter what you do, you cannot warm up. That's how I felt. And it was also like 68, 67. Like it was kind of chilly, which, I mean, that might not sound chilly to you, but like I live in Phoenix and I have acclimated to the hot desert weather. So 68 to me, like I might as well have a fucking winter coat on. Like it was so cold, and all I had was my denim jacket, which is not like the warmest. So we go to this like shopping center where we're having dinner, and we're kind of walking around waiting for our reservation, and I'm just like literally like my teeth are chattering, I'm frozen. And we have dinner. I'm still feeling really shitty, so I like barely eat anything. I'm drinking hot tea because I'm just like, you know, I need something. And so we go back to our Airbnb. We're hanging out, all just like talking in the living room on the couch. And I notice that my legs are very swollen and my ankles are very swollen. And it's not just like, you know, your typical sunburn. It's like, oh no, I'm like blowing up. And so then I'm like, because I'm also feeling so sick, like the other symptoms that I already mentioned. So I'm like, what are the symptoms? I'm like chat GPTing, like, what is sun poisoning? And I'm like, okay, I 100% have sun poisoning. Like there's just no way that I don't. Like this is all the symptoms I have. And so then I mean, it's like I can barely bend my knees, but like I can't sit crisscross really because that hurts. I mean, it was wild. And so Corey's sister was like doing some acupressure points on me just to like to help with my headache and everything. And she's like telling me things I should do and not do. And we're leaving the next morning. So I'm like, oh my God, I hope I feel better by then, because we have like a 6-hour drive. And, you know, the worst thing is to be sick in the car. Like that's nightmare. And so I'm just like, oh my God, I hope I feel better tomorrow. Well, spoiler alert, I did not feel better the next day. I felt worse, and I was even way more swollen, and I didn't sleep with my legs reclined, inclined, which I should have, but I just didn't even think about elevating them at that point. So the burn is next level bad, and it's just getting worse and worse. And so I just did what I could. Like I just had to manage the nausea, and then the anxiety that I was having about the nausea and the burn. Oh my God. Like, so about halfway through the drive, because I had been in sitting position, like my feet were down, obviously. We like stopped at a rest stop to go to the bathroom and to let the dogs out. And I like stepped out of the car and I could barely stand up because my, feet and ankles and everything were so swollen and so tight that it was like just putting weight on them was extremely painful. And like every time I stand up, I could feel the like fluids and everything like rushing down. And so I'm like, oh my God, this is actually kind of scary. So I get on my handy dandy chat GPT and I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? Like, is this really serious? Like, do I need to go to the doctor? And it was like, yeah, it could be a blood clot. You do need to go to the doctor, and you need to elevate, like keep your legs and your feet elevated. And I'm like, well, you know, that's kind of hard to do in the car, but like, okay, I'll try. And so I start to, once I elevate my feet, like as much as I can, like on the dash, which I know is not safe, but it's what I had to do. And so once I did that, I was feeling around on my like calf and everything. And I was noticing that it is like the swelling was localized to the burn itself. So like the back of my calf was not really swollen or hard. So I was like, okay, so I put that information in chat, And it was like, okay, that kind of rules out like blood clot. It is most likely just like inflammatory edema from the radiation of the sun. And basically what it is is a fucking second degree burn. At first, I thought it was a first degree, but it is actually a second degree. And it is not a superficial sunburn, like where it's just the surface of the skin. It is deeper. Like it is actually really some real damage has been done. Like you can see all of the little damaged capillaries under there, under the skin, and how they're just like releasing fluids, and like that's why it's swelling. And it was just so incredibly painful, and it still is. It's getting better. But anyway, so we get home and I'm like inclining or reclining. I don't know. I was elevating my legs and I had to sleep like that. And yeah, it's been a whole thing. Like I will never again take for granted being able to just get up and walk around like with no discomfort, because even just like I said, standing up from after I've been sitting or laying for a while, standing up is still really uncomfortable. Like whenever all the blood and everything rushes back down, because all the capillaries and everything are fucked up, like they're damaged. So basically, I cannot do anything strenuous. I can like do a little bit of walking and like a little bit of walking right now. And in a week or two, I can start to like do gentle stretching. And in 3 or 4 weeks, I can start to actually do like strenuous workouts where I would like sweat and stuff like that again. So big damper in the plans there. I mean, literally just like what a way for my body to be like, slow down and protect your boundaries better. And so that's what I want to also talk about, because I was like, okay, this has to be like this. Of course, this is a lesson. Of course, there is a message in here for me. Like this is not just totally random. And so what's interesting was on our first night in California with his sister, Allie, actually, it may have been the second night, but anyway, we were chatting about like all of the traditional Chinese medicine stuff. And she was like doing a little like tongue diagnosis on each of us. And she was telling us like she was feeling our pulses and like doing the things that she needed to do to tell us like what we were deficient in or what we had an excess of, and like what we essentially need to do to correct that. And so for me, I have appropriate yang energy, but I have a deficiency of yin. And so yin is basically like, if you think of yin and yang, like yang is more masculine, like action taking, energy, like doing things. And yin is more feminine, like flow, relax, rest, like go slow. And I have deficient yin, which at first it was kind of confusing me a little bit, because I was like, I feel like I'm a pretty chill person. Like I'm not constantly go, go, go. Like I have plenty of like rest time. I take naps. I have plenty of just like chill time. And I'm not like a super high energy person, like physically speaking. And so at first I was kind of like, so I need to do even less? Like, I don't feel like I do too much. And then we got deeper into it, and it was actually like, for me specifically, what it is it's mental rest. So I might look like I'm physically resting, but mentally I'm not. And it's not because of like anxiety or ruminating or like looping negative thoughts. For me specifically, it's actually things that I'm excited about. Like it's my like podcast or my Substack. I'm coming up with ideas for like posts I want to do or articles I want to write, or it's like my, I'm creating a course right now, so I'll be thinking of that, or I'll just have all of these ideas just constantly, like a steady stream of ideas and inspiration and like things that I'm like, oh yeah, I need to do that. Oh yeah, I want to do that. Oh, I want to edit this. I want to da 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 da. And so it's just like constantly. And then on top of that, there's so many things that I'm like also learning right now. Like I'm in my medical astrology program. There's plenty of other things that I'm learning about as well, like for my health and for just things that I'm interested in. And so for me, it's not even like physical rest, it's mental rest, which actually makes a lot of sense as well, because I have Mercury in my 6th house. The 6th house, if you remember, is the main health house in medical astrology. That's like the first thing we would look at. And Mercury is the planet of, it's very mental. It's all about communication and like mental stimulation and everything. And so once I understood that it doesn't have to be about like physical exertion, it can literally just be about like mental rest and like turning your fucking brain off. And whenever you are resting, like actually resting and turning it off, and not just like sitting there watching a show, but also like working at the same time or learning something at the same time or whatever. And so that made a whole lot of sense. I have absolutely not been protecting my boundaries as far as like just having a clear separation between rest and work and creation and fun and everything. Like it's really kind of all been melding together. And so this whole sunburn thing is like literally the emotional root cause for that for me is I have not been protecting. Like, what is the skin? The skin is your body's most protective barrier that you possibly have. It's about keeping the bad out from your body. And I have not been doing a good job of that. Not that anything I'm doing is bad, but too much of anything can be bad and can be overwhelming or overstimulating. And so then I wanted to take it a step further and look, and I had a very good feeling that this would have something to do with fucking Saturn, because Saturn is just like that. And so this is actually funny. I had just written an article for Substack, and I think I wrote it like a little bit ago, but I think published it like yesterday or the day before. And it is about how Saturn, like your chronic symptoms might just be Saturn telling you that you need to slow down. And so initially I wasn't totally connecting the dots here with my situation, because my sunburn is not chronic. Like it's acute. It is not something that I'm dealing with. Chronic just means it's something that you've dealt with for 6 months or more. And so obviously I have not been dealing with the sunburn for 6 months or more. So at first I wasn't really like putting the two together of like, oh, this literally applies to me. However, I was like, okay, what about my birth chart could potentially, could there be a correlation? Could there be some placements that I have that make me more susceptible to this kind of a thing happening? And sure enough, absolutely. So, as I guessed, having Saturn in the 1st or the 6th house can make you more susceptible to something like this. And it's because Saturn is like dryness and restriction, and it can show up as fragile or easily damaged skin with less, it can make you have less natural protection. And I have Saturn in my 1st house. Saturn is also my chart ruler because I have Aquarius in the 1st house, which I will be talking about chart rulers soon. I'll be talking more about that. So I've got that. And then the second thing that I have that would make me more susceptible to something like this is I have a fire sign moon. I have a Sagittarius moon. So that means if you have a fire moon, your body processes heat differently. And so your skin and the underlying fluids may be more reactive. Fire moons just like tend to just like, they're just kind of have a little bit of excess heat in general. And that doesn't mean like, obviously none of this means, oh my God, I have Saturn in the first house, or I have Saturn in the sixth house, or I have a Leo moon or whatever. Like none of this means that you are destined to just always get sunburns or whatever. But what it does mean is that you might like you have a little bit more of a propensity to versus someone who doesn't have those placements. Now, obviously, can you prevent it? Yes, 100%. I could have fucking prevented this by wearing sunscreen, by not being a dummy and wearing sunscreen and reapplying sunscreen, but I didn't do that. So, so here I am. So yeah, Saturn, back to Saturn, which I wrote about this in my Substack article, if you want to read it. I believe it is one of my free posts, and it's like very, very in detail and very good. So I highly recommend. I will link it for you in the show notes if you want to check it out. But Saturn controls the joints and connective tissue, the skin and boundaries, your structural integrity systems, which would mean like your spine, your posture, your overall just alignment of your body, and chronic and degenerative patterns. So like aging, wear and tear on your body, stuff like that. So basically what I'm saying is, first of all, just sharing with you what's been going on in my world and why I didn't have an episode on this past Tuesday. But also check out what Saturn is doing in your chart and just make sure that you are taking any preventative measures that you would need to take, because Saturn doesn't play. Saturn's not like cutesy. It's not gonna give you like here's a little subtle warning. It's just gonna come out and just all out be like, I'm here to fuck shit up. That's just what Saturn does. Saturn is a malefic planet. It is not it's not like friendly Taurus and lovely Taurus and like expansive, optimistic Jupiter. It is very like harsh. Saturn is harsh. And so it's not going to give you that little warning sign. It's going to be like coming all out, and you're going to potentially have to pay for it depending on what kind of choices you're making. And obviously, if I had made different choices, I wouldn't be in this situation. But again, I made the choices I made, and here we are. I am still recovering from a 2nd-degree burn on my lower body, and it is not fun. I can tell you one thing, I will never be in this position again. I will never forego my sunscreen on my body at the beach ever again. That's for sure. So I would definitely invite you to, again, check out my article on Substack about this, because it's all about Saturn. I also have several more posts about Saturn coming up in the next few weeks, because Saturn deserves all of the posts because it is that intense, and you definitely want to know what it's doing in your chart to see how it may be impacting you. And I have a lot of information on that in this post, and again, coming up soon. So again, I will link that in the show notes. Definitely think that you should check it out, and just check out where you may not be upholding your boundaries, whether it's from whether it's from a person or people, or whether it is literally from like the things that you like, like, again, this is a situation where I didn't uphold my own boundaries with something that I view as very positive and fun, like my work, my creation, my expression. I love those things, but there still has to be boundaries. I can't let that overtake my whole entire life to where I'm not resting, because then that turns into a yin deficient state, which that's a whole other thing. So anyway, I hope that at least some of this resonated with you, and go check out your Saturn, check out the article and all the other articles I have on my Substack. I am literally just obsessing over Substack. It is so fun. I love creating these long, like really detailed, explanatory posts. I'm just like, it's actually making me want to be on Instagram less, because I'm just like this, it is so much more satisfying to me to be able to explain these super complex, like astrological concepts and, all of that. It's so much easier for me to be able to explain it fully than just like make it super bite-sized, where I feel like I'm leaving out so much and not necessarily like explaining it the best, because it's like, it's what the Instagram algorithm would prefer. So I am just like putting out so much information on Substack. A lot of it's free. There is some of it that is that you need to subscribe for. And I did lower the investment of the subscription, just because I was finding myself like, I've only subscribed to a couple of people's, and I was like, you know what, this can add up. Like if you subscribe to a few people on Substack, like that can quickly add up. So I lowered mine to I think like $8 a month. So for $8 a month, you can get all of my exclusive content that is private, and even a little bit more, actually even a lot more in depth than the free stuff, which the free stuff is already very in depth. So you can imagine what the paid stuff is like. So basically what I'm going to start doing is releasing just all kinds of guides within my paid Substack channel, and that is just kind of how I'm loving teaching and releasing information, releasing content right now, in combination with the course that I'm creating, which I will be talking more about that very soon. I am so excited about it. It's so next level. Like I'm so excited. So, okay. How long is this? This has been a little bit. So 36 minutes, not that bad. Okay. So I will talk to you on Tuesday. I will have a new episode on Tuesday. I'm back. I am on the mend, nowhere near healed, but I am on the mend. So we are back to our usual programming, and I would love to hear what you think about the Substack article. If and when you read it, you can comment on it straight on Substack, or you can send me a DM on Instagram if you'd rather. And I will talk to you on Tuesday. If this episode sparked something in you, share it with a friend who needs it. Take a screenshot, post it to your Instagram story, and tag me at Intuitively Sydney. That's SIDNEY. I would love, love, love to see who's tuning in so I can connect with you and celebrate you. Have an amazing week, and I will talk to you next Tuesday.